Let's be honest, it takes some radical courage to publicly say, I believed something before and now I don't. And within that one statement are thousands of lessons for others.
For generations, women were shamed for trusting themselves, sensing things before they happen, and believing in their own power. No one encouraged them to embrace it until now. Welcome to Trust Yourself.
Hi, I'm Elise, but my sister calls me Sissy.
And I'm her sister, Heidi.
We are your psychic sisters here to teach you how to trust yourself and how to trust your intuitive nudges, which can lead to a more expansive life. And today, specifically, we are talking about trusting yourself when you are changing your mind, which is scary.
I'm a pro at this.
I'm a pro at this. I am not. I am one of those one-track minds, got to do it all the way through and follow through and stick with it, even if I'm like, nope, I don't really like it anymore.
Do you know how many jobs I've had in my life?
Yeah. Actually, I really don't. What is your
I've actually
what is
never
your number?
counted. I should actually sit down and count them all. But just so you know, I'm 35 years old and the longest I've ever had a job was 1.5 years. Although this is the longest. I think we're approaching that 1.5 year mark and I don't want to give up.
So should I be nervous yet or not?
I'll let you know in a couple months.
Oh my
Just
God.
kidding. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not.
Haven't you also had like 2 W-2s every single year for
my whole life? At least like minimum of 2, sometimes more. But yeah.
So I feel like we've all had an aha moment where deep down your perspective has shifted, but you felt paralyzed to say it out loud or note that you've actually done it. Because admitting that you are wrong, or not even necessarily wrong, right? But admitting that you believed something that you no longer agree with can feel more dangerous than staying silent, which is why most people stay silent.
Yeah.
But psychologically, emotionally, even physically, silence comes at a cost. Now, let me be clear. I am not saying everyone needs to go out to the rooftop and scream out their old beliefs and post their sob stories on TikTok, but
I mean, you can. I'll probably still watch it.
Yeah, you can. But what I am saying is that I think it's time for us to start celebrating the stories of those who are in the middle of their evolution journey. They've just decided that, I'm not so sure my old beliefs are what I agree with anymore, whether that's religious beliefs, political beliefs, even just limiting beliefs about yourself. Like, oh, I always thought I wasn't a kind person because I cheated on my boyfriend, but I don't think that defines me anymore.
Yeah.
Or even like, oh, I never thought I was artistic, but I just started trying this art class and I'm actually really good.
I love that. I
Right?
actually just had, yesterday I actually took a masterclass on manifestation, specifically around money. And I almost didn't take it because I was like, I've heard all the things. I know all the things. But it actually changed exactly how I look at money and called out some of the things that I was pretending was normal. So I really changed my mindset there where it was like just completely different from what I thought before.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, it's really going to help us with our money journey.
Well, basically, okay, this was the trick. It said personify money and think of it as like an actual relationship. Like, are you avoiding that relationship? Are you actually putting in effort into that relationship? And I was like, oh, I'm avoidant. I'm completely avoidant. And so now it's like, I'm changing my relationship being like, okay, it's okay. I'll check in on you. I'm actually going to tell me what's up. Like, let's just have an actual relationship instead of, just me being like, oh, it's there. It's fine. It's going to do its thing.
I've been avoiding my money's DMs, so maybe I should start.
Yeah, change your relationship. I named her Juno, by the way.
Okay.
Money is
Love
my
it.
relationship. Juno is my friend.
Okay. So when people are at the crux of this major shift in their life, I think this is so valuable to our community in more ways than we even know. So instead of shaming people for changing their minds, we really need to start to support them because they can lead the way for many others who may have who may be having similar thoughts, but afraid to voice it out loud. So today we are talking about what it really means to say, I changed my mind, and why that feels threatening, and why growth almost always requires a revision. It requires us to change our mind. And so changing your mind and your beliefs doesn't mean you were stupid before. It doesn't mean you're flip-flopping. It means that you're just simply evolving to see a wider perspective, which is going to help everybody around you.
Yes, I love it.
And I promise we won't talk just about politics, although I do think that this topic is extremely relevant to today's political climate. It's also relevant to our societal image at large, I think.
Yeah.
But yes, people are doubling down on our old beliefs out of fear, despite any truths that they feel within themselves. And those that do decide to make changes to their beliefs or shift their perspectives, I think they are staying silent to avoid conflict or even just being misunderstood. There is one important thing to remember, though, that history has shown us over and over again. Rigidity is not strength. Adaptability is. And that's what's going to take us to this new earth, if you will.
Yay! Come to the light side.
Heidi, do you have a story about when you changed your mind on something?
So many. How much time do we have?
We got as much as you want. It's your podcast.
Let me pick a couple, but I mean, you could apply this to so many aspects of your life. It's not just politics. It's not just religion. It's, boyfriends, relationships with friends, jobs. It's everything that you are allowed to grow and shift and change your mind in. But I think for me, one of the ones that I guess carried so much weight was when I did leave nursing, because I had just invested so much time, money, effort, everything into going to nursing school. I was a nurse for a year, actually a little over a year.
I was going to say longer than that.
Not longer than a year and a half though. So,
God, I really am getting nervous now.
It's my limit. But it was like, I felt so much guilt because I was so excited to go to nursing school, so excited to become a nurse, so excited to help people. And then once I got in it, I realized that the way I wanted to help people was not the same way that you're allowed to sort of help people in nursing. And there's a lot more restriction and red tape and politics, honestly, that goes into the healthcare system as a whole. That I wasn't really prepared for. So I think that one, I was the most embarrassed and shameful when I decided to leave, because I could hear it in my head already. And, our parents being like, Heidi changed her mind again. Or, just this thing when it was like, oh, you had such a good, respectable, solid, stable career. And now you're going to do what? Start a podcast? Are you okay? So I think that one was kind of the hardest one for me, of having to kind of dissociate it from being like, oh, that was the wrong choice. Because I think a lot of my self-growth that I've been doing over the last 5 years is realizing that everything isn't really a good choice or a bad choice. And I know we've talked about this before in a previous episode, but it's like, it was the right choice for me at that time. And I have to honor that because it was the right choice for me at the time. I still have the knowledge. I still can apply it to my kids when they get hurt or sick or something. I'm like, oh, at least I know this. But it was the right choice at the time. And this is the right choice for me now. And this allows me to help more people. And it feels good. And I don't want to quit. So don't worry about that. And I don't have the itch. Usually I'd be getting an itch right around now of like, what else could I do? Where's my expansion going? But I think just giving yourself some grace and not saying or believing that if I change my mind, I'm a bad person or I messed up or that was a mistake, because none of it was ever a mistake. It was all meant to culminate together to right now.
Yes.
This is actually what I feel like I'm writing my book on. I just decided, so I'm in the Hay House. They have a boot camp with a competition right now, but I decided that I wanted to write about being all over the place on purpose, because sometimes you have to try a lot of things to get you exactly to right where you are. So I'm excited about it. So
That's
yay,
cool.
me, I'm going to be an author.
Good job, Heidi. You are. You are.
Whew, that's another thing. There it is. I changed my job again, but I'm still doing the podcast.
There you go.
Always
you can change
growing.
your titles all you want. That's fine.
Yes.
I had similar, I changed my mind on what I believed power was.
Yeah.
So if you know from our if you've listened to our previous episodes, you may know that I was, my soul urge was a numerology number 8, which is power, following power.
Power, money.
Right. But before, I thought it was powerful to be respected as an architect. And, but what I really wanted to do was start this intuitive podcast with my sister, but that was not collectively seen as powerful or important, right? But I did it anyway. Obviously, here I am.
Yay! And you're not going anywhere.
Yeah, but I was also honest with myself and others along the way about how this has made me feel. And it would have been really easy to just shy away from the topic and not talk about it anymore. But I found that the more I opened up about this scary decision, the more I found that others really resonated with that feeling. We don't talk about it.
Right.
So yes, that was a big mind-changing moment for me because I'm normally, like I said, one-track mind. So that was like a huge shift for me. But I do want to mention a couple others that have come up for me very recently. And side note, this is where I'm going to get a little political. And I did say some of this on the bonus episode, but I think it's worth restating because I have had some aha moments that I had to sit with. And I want to be open about it right now since that's what our topic is. And might as well be honest with everybody.
No better time than the present.
Right. So recently, after speaking up about the insane damage that I am seeing that ICE is bringing to my home city in Minneapolis and St. Paul, I saw that many others on the other side of this conversation were mentioning, well, where were you when Obama did this? And at first I felt absolute rage and anger because I didn't see this as comparable at all. But I sat with that for a moment and I did more research and I thought about that time in my life and thought about what actually did happen and how I did feel. And I did kind of suppress that because I realized that actually I was mad at Obama. Yeah, he did deport millions of people. And he was even given the nickname Deporter in Chief, not by Republicans, mind you. Democrats gave him that nickname. And we actually did protest those events too, because it was getting out of hand. And I definitely think that part is getting, it is forgotten about by some side. Actually, both sides forget that there were protests about this.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, okay. See?
I mean, I'm just going to be honest. Although, I know when Obama first got elected, that was my very first election because I had just turned 18. So I was very much not into politics. I was just like, cool, I'm going to go vote. But yeah, I had no idea. So please enlighten me because I need to learn history.
Yeah. Well, he did deport quite a few people. And I think, though, the main difference that I found when these deportations were happening, they were right at the border, just as immigrants crossed or shortly thereafter, out of just trying to survive. Yeah. The other biggest difference was that when these protests took place, Obama actually made changes. He listened to the people and created the DACA program. And he also called for congressional reform and administrative policy shifts, even though most of these were blocked and never implemented. But he called for it. Whereas what I'm seeing now with Trump's response to these protests is just more threats, more violent escalation, and even fewer protections against civilians. We're losing our rights. But this did make me stop and think that, they have a point. Obama was not perfect. The numbers are facts. So this did lead to my second realization too, which has been difficult and scary because I love reading dystopian novels. So
oh God, me too. What
freaks me out.
You're going to ruin this for me?
I know.
What is it?
Well, no, it's that I've come to realize that it's no longer, in my opinion, It's no longer a left versus right anymore. And it's not going to help if I try to get all my Republican friends to join me on the blue side, because we do have different values, and that's normal. That's life. It's not the left versus the right. It is the top versus the bottom. So unless you are a billionaire, which my bet is everyone listening right now is not.
Just wild guess.
Just a guess. We are all getting crushed here. And the top wants us divided more than ever. They want us to cling to our old beliefs and pit us against each other, because that's how they secure their thrones. When people at the bottom are busy fighting each other, we just stay distracted. We stay emotionally activated. And we also stop asking those deeper questions of ourselves and of our neighbors, because we know no one's going to listen. So psychologically, I think this is keeping us, again, in that fight or flight, where the fear and the anger is totally overriding our own discernment. And our relationships, it just erodes trust, not just between us, but within ourselves too. We don't even know who to trust anymore. Okay, so what does this have to do with changing your mind? I promise I'm going to get there. Because the top wants us divided and angry, I think the most radical thing we can do right now is to unite by speaking up when we are in the middle of changing our minds. From both sides. I don't care what side you're on. But speaking up when you start to notice something isn't sitting right with me anymore. Speaking your truth mid-change is frickin' disruptive as hell in the best way. I think most people wait until they are 100% sure right before they speak about that they've changed their minds. But if you become silent during this transformation time, that's what's really keeping these systems frozen. That's what they're banking on. I mean billionaires. That's what the billionaires are banking on. We need to get more comfortable saying things like, I'm noticing something doesn't sit right anymore, or I'm still figuring this out, but here's what I'm seeing. This creates permission for others to think out loud too, for others to see that maybe it's not all black and white. Maybe it's not left versus right.
Yeah.
One example I saw on social media is this woman named Mercedes Chandler. I think her handle is Camp Callout or something.
Yeah, I think I've seen that one.
Have you seen her? She's a former MAGA Trump supporter who used to just troll liberals, call them out for what she believed was false. But she recently started asking questions of her party and has now realized that she thinks she's being lied to. And she now calls out where she is seeing injustice. And the best thing about all of this is that she left all of her old content on her social media as a way to be completely transparent with her followers. And she even calls out herself in her old videos, which is so refreshing.
Yeah, it's so important and so powerful. And I think that's probably why she got such a nice following, because it's like, it's so transparent. It's so raw. It's so honest. And exactly like you said, it gives other people the permission to be like, oh, wait, how do I actually feel? Like, what do I actually think about this? And also, even if you just start talking about it with a trusted friend or anything, even if you just start to say like, I'm just not so sure, and you're saying this out loud, sure, you're going to have lots of people be like, oh, what about this? What about this? Like, what are you talking about? This is what you've been thinking, like, this is what you've believed for so long. And it's okay to let them kind of have their flare-up moment, because you are disrupting their image of you at this exact same time.
That's so true, Heidi.
But the thing you also need to remember is just keep remembering how you feel on the inside, because if you can stand your ground long enough to be like, I'm just still figuring out how I feel on this. I'm not, making drastic changes today, but I'm just wanting to speak about it. Maybe you can actually have a conversation with that person, or maybe you'll start finding other people to have conversations with. Go talk to Camp Callout, but just also, just forewarning, you will probably get people freaking out a little bit because you're changing and people don't like change.
Shaking up the beliefs. Yeah, it's true. When you were talking about that, it reminded me of the Friends episode when Phoebe was calling out Ross for his belief in, I think it was just a fossil. And she's like, how do you even know that that's true? Is there just even like a 1% chance? And he was just like, I guess there could be a 1% chance. And she's just like, how did you just drop your whole belief system?
I vaguely remember this episode. Like as you're seeing it, I can picture them. So,
yeah, so funny.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like it.
But yeah,
it's almost like testing.
It's funny, but it kind of feels like that right now, where just like, even if you believe there's an ounce of possibility that something could be true, then it's just this extreme, oh my gosh, now you just dropped your entire belief system. No, I think you can still have that as your foundation, but you can see that it can be rebuilt. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think back to Mercedes, I think what's great is that I don't think she even calls herself she's definitely not a Republican anymore, but I don't even think she considers herself a Democrat. She's just someone who is using her own discernment based on her own values, not a party's values, not a certain way. And so, yeah, when her old posts don't match their current truth, I mean, this is an excellent way for her followers to see her thought process and how she slowly started to change her mind and ask questions.
We should 100% get her on the podcast.
Yeah, she's great. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I really enjoy her videos, and that would be such an interesting conversation. If you would like to see that, if you'd like to hear that conversation, let us know in the comments, because, we want to serve you too. And maybe this podcast is changing a little bit just for right now, but we're always gonna get back to the woo-woo shit. Don't worry, guys.
I think it's all intertwined, and hopefully you guys can see that, but it's important that we trust our community members, that we trust ourselves.
Trust our inner knowing, trust our feeling, trust like exactly like you said, that discernment of like something is just sitting wrong inside of me. And that is a flag, not a red flag, not a green flag. It's just a flag that maybe you need to dig a little deeper and see why things aren't settling.
Well, there's many reasons why we don't speak up, even if we do see those things. Silence does feel safer than the truth, because silence is the easy way out, right? If you speak up, then it makes you the new villain in the room. Social media is not friendly towards curiosity. They are friendly towards confidence. If you're confident one way or the other, it's like, boom, yes, that makes sense. If you're asking questions, social media doesn't like that, unfortunately. And shame, right? Shame keeps people frozen in our outdated beliefs. It's so much easier to just ignore that, just so you don't get uncomfortable by being shamed. So we're going to be quiet.
Well, and I feel like that can be applied to so many different areas in your life as well, where it could be small things, it could be big things, but just not speaking them usually feels easier. But in the long run, things get exposed. And I am just going to be frank with you, because I have had lots of astrologers in my life that are very close to me that say this year is not a year where truths get covered up. There is a lot of exposure this year happening. So, it's something with the planets. I don't remember which one. My astrologer is going to kill me for this.
All of them. All the outer
planets,
ones.
All the planets are fucking us up. Yeah. It's definitely like, I vividly remember that. Okay. Do you remember Coldplay Gate, where Coldplay did the kiss cam and it was the CEO thing? So that happened like at the same collision of these like exposure planets, and these astrologers are just saying like, more and more of these are going to happen for political, for government, for the world at large, where it's like things you're trying to keep under wraps are going to be exposed. It's an expose year, as they say. So so, just say it first before it just gets gets out there some other way.
Yeah, don't stay silent. But again, I think having the conversations, it doesn't have to be like posting on social media, this is how I feel. You don't have to.
No.
But just having the conversation with your spouse, with your partner, with your friends. Because I think if your peace depends on your silence, is that really peace at all? Or is it just self-abandonment?
And if you don't have anybody that you can talk to safely, we are a safe space. So please DM us because we can talk to you. We are very open-minded and we would love to support you. Yeah.
I think we are.
We think
you can also call us out if we're not.
Yes.
I'm happy to know.
I know. Yep.
I think we just really need to start to remind ourselves that it is okay to change our minds. Ask yourself, am I really confused, or am I just afraid of the consequences if I say out loud what I'm actually thinking? Because you can be compassionate and call bullshit on yourself at the same time. It's okay. We need more of that honesty.
Yeah.
And when we are ready to start thinking for ourselves, to share our honesty in a safe place, hopefully, it's also important to know we don't need the perfect words. We need the brave words, because we need your story midway through evolution, messy and all, not perfect. No one wants perfect. No one is perfect. We want to hear it. We want you to be like Mercedes Chandler. Just show me that what did you think before? What are you thinking now? Where are you going with this?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. And I just kind of want to add to sidebar a little bit. Just the other day, we got an email from one of our past clients who basically came out to say, my religious beliefs have changed and all my friend groups, like, I don't want to tell them yet. And maybe that's something we could talk about. And so, yes, like, find the people you can talk to things with. Find the people you can talk.
I got it. Yeah.
Okay. Find the people you can talk with about things that maybe you're like, I know for a fact this friend group will not accept it. And it's going to take me a little while to build up my self-confidence. You have to be able to build up your self-confidence a little bit first before you just go and like say it to somebody who you know is just going to shit all over your idea or just tear you down, you know? Just throwing that out there too, because it was very brave of her to say that and just like send us an email. And just to say, you know, how do I navigate this? How do I start to break out of the friend group that I had that I know I don't really align with anymore too? Because that's super hard too. And just admitting that you're ready to do that, that's huge. Yeah. So, and there's a lot of change.
Another important takeaway from that is that if you are on the other side of that person admitting that they are changing their mind, we should be accepting of this change, even if it kind of messes with our, like you said, Heidi, our beliefs about that person. But also, if somebody's coming up to you saying, I'm changing my mind, let's not meet them initially with, well, it took you long enough.
Yeah,
you know, sometimes
too.
That can also be like, oh my God, no.
Oh, finally you see it on my side.
Exactly. No, we need to respond with, oh, wow, that was really brave of you to say, and encourage any growth that gets us a step closer to unity, even if we wanted that growth to happen decades ago, right? We need to honor where they are at this present time, because this is how trust is rebuilt for those of us in the bottom, for all of us. And then we unify and shake things up at the larger scale for those at the tippy top.
Yeah. Oh, and even if somebody comes to you saying that I think my beliefs have changed, you can also just ask like, oh, like what makes you feel this way, or something, just to get them talking, because
curiosity.
Yes. Just, you don't have to agree, and it doesn't reflect anything on you. It doesn't, because I think sometimes people are like, oh, if my best friend changes their mind, then there's something wrong with me, or like, maybe true. I should change mine. Like, wait, what do you mean you don't believe in Christianity anymore? I'm a Christian. What does that mean to me now? Yeah. So it doesn't reflect on you. It's, if you have a belief that you stand in, that's fine. But people are allowed to have their beliefs too. Everybody is.
Yeah, I think these micro conversations can help us unify way better than just shouting at each other that there's a right and a wrong way. I think we need to remember that it's not us versus us at the bottom.
No, it's not.
It's us versus those tiny few little billionaires that are manipulating the system.
You know, I had a liminal message come through when I was waking up the other day. And
liminal message, I love that.
One of those things,
in between
liminal space message.
Yeah.
But I kind of loved it because it was like raise your vibes, raise hell. When you're in fight or flight because you're like panicking about things, which honestly, everyone should be feeling that anyways. But when you're able to ground yourself and then find something to help you raise your vibe, that's another thing too, because it feels such a heavy time. It feels wrong to be finding magic in your day or trying to raise your vibe. But when you raise your vibe, you can actually quote unquote raise hell, not with violence, but with that unity and with being a light for other people to stand strong too. Because when they see you being like, you know what? I'm going to still stand in me. I'm going to speak for me, and I'm still going to love everybody around me because I'm not going to weigh my vibrations down with spreading hate or spewing angry words. Just peace.
Well, and for those of us that are angry, I've gone to those protests, though we were shouting some angry things.
Oh yeah.
I think that is good to have. We need anger, but the anger, if it's coupled with hope, because otherwise it's just despair. We're just angry and we're shouting into nothing. We need anger with hope and organized path.
We need like a direction, right? You just need a...
And the direction... We got to figure out what that is together. I don't think the direction is pushing each other further apart.
No, the direction is unity and finding unity in humanity, and just finding anything. Just find one tiny little shred of something that you can connect with somebody else on.
Yeah.
Even if it's the mere fact that you're a human and I'm a human and we all deserve to have a good life.
I like that.
I don't know. You know?
Well, yeah. So I invite you to have a mini conversation this week with someone outside of your usual circle and lead with honesty. Just maybe start by saying, hey, can I tell you something I'm wrestling with right now? And just see where the conversation goes. Look for one shared truth, not necessarily an agreement, right? But you can both have a shared truth. And I think you may be more alike than you think. I mean, you're both not billionaires, so there's that commonality.
There it is. Yep. What's your bank account? Huh?
Oh, same.
How many zeros?
Oh.
Yeah. Just one zero is all I got. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Let's start by saying our net worth. That'll give us the common ground. Okay. Anyway.
If you've just been feeling scattered or lost or feeling like you don't have a direction, we do invite you to head to our website, trustyourselfpodcast.com, and check out our SOS call, which is Seeking Out Solutions. It is a great way to get clarity and direction, to dust off that third eye so you can really get tapped into your intuition, know how your intuition speaks to you. Because if you're so numb at this point that you're like, I don't even know what the fuck I believe anymore. SOS call is what you need. I'll just say it there. But we would love to work with you. We'd love to have a chance to chat with you, meet with you, and help you really align and reconnect with yourself.
Yeah. We don't care what party you're on. Nope. We just see you as a human being. So please join us, whoever you are.
Yay.
Well, Heidi, should we do our tarot for the week?
Yes, we shall.
By we, I mean you.
We shall. I felt like getting my Moonology Oracle deck for this one. Okay. Don't ask me why, but when Spirit calls, because Spirit told me, and I do everything they say. Gosh, what a relationship I've got with Spirit. It's one of those, do this. Okay. Don't worry. I have discernment. All right. What do we need to focus on for this week? Oh, here we go. Adjustments are required. Stop it. I can't make this. I'm not even going to lie. I honestly don't think I've ever actually pulled this card in this entire deck before. Never, ever. It is the third quarter moon, and it legitimately says adjustments are required.
Fuck yeah. Yeah.
But I got
for
chills.
all of us. Yes. Oh my gosh, you guys.
That is so crazy. I love it. I love it so much.
Let's start to come together. Let's adjust just a little bit and come together.
Yeah. Let's just reevaluate your values, reevaluate your beliefs, reevaluate your life, reevaluate so many things. This is a good time to reevaluate because, we're in fire horse season now. So we're going to need to adjust because we just shed a bunch of shit. We just shed so much shit. in the last year that now adjustments are fucking required, you know?
Yeah.
They're just required.
Yeah, that's so true. Let's do it. Let's shift. I'm
Good
ready.
shift. This is a great shift, guys.
Don't forget to head to our website, check out our SOS calls if you're interested. And until next time, it's your move, sis.
Make it count.
Bye. Bye. If you change your mind, I'm the first in line. Honey, I'm still free. Take a chance on me. Take a chance.
That was beautiful. Okay.